Hello, this is Jack from teachingeslonline.com. Now, this video is going to go through what I think is happening in the online teaching world and online learning world, and also talk about my future predictions with this. I'm not going to lay out the exact predictions, but just talk about what I'm feeling at the moment and thinking about in terms of this industry. And then I'll go through the different ways that you can become an online teacher, and then also go through some steps to help you with this. Now, just to give you a little bit of context, which I think is important, I've been teaching online since 2011 in terms of having my own online business. So I've been doing this for English language learners and also for teachers who want to teach as well. So basically I have two brands, and I've been doing the teaching brand since 2013. Now, the other thing that's really important to know is I'm recording this at the end of March 2020, and we have no idea what's on the other side of what is happening right now. So what is actually happening right now, though, is a lot of teachers are having to adapt and to teach online. And I've seen a big increase in the amount of people asking me questions, getting in touch with me, watching my content, and more people want to be able to teach online in the long term too. Now, what I think might happen is that, and it's impossible to say because there are so many different factors involved, but there are two things to think about, I think. One, a lot of people are saying that online teaching and learning is here to stay, that a lot of people are going to see the benefits or just get used to this online way of giving instruction, helping people and learning. And then people will continue with this. On the other hand, I also think that once the lockdown is over, no matter when that is, people might be completely fed up with online teaching and learning. But, you know, it could go two ways. The main trend, though, is one of increasing numbers of people wanting to learn online and wanting to teach online. And I've seen this happen over the nearly 10 years I've been doing this. So I think that's the biggest takeaway, that the general trend is one that is increasing. Now, let's talk about how you can teach online. And I'm specifically going to focus on English teaching and learning because that's the field I know best. But this applies for most other subjects too. So the three main ways you can do this is to work for a company. The second way is to freelance on what I call teacher marketplaces. And then the third way is to teach for yourself, to start your own thing. So you're, in essence, running a business where you're teaching people, you're finding the students, you're creating the curriculum, etc. Now, working for a company appeals to a lot of people because you just have to show up and teach. You also have to lesson plan, but you just show up and teach. And the good news here is I have seen a trend of better companies coming along, because in the past, there weren't any good companies. They were paying hardly anything. They weren't treating their teachers very well. And I got a lot of people complaining about this, but that has changed and there are some really good companies out there. Now, go to the description because I actually have an affiliate link here, full disclosure, but I've had a lot of teaching companies get in touch with me and say, could you help us find teachers and learners and we'll pay you. But when I did some research on the companies, I didn't like them. There is one company which I recommend, and again, I'll leave a link to that in the description. This is for English teachers based in North America. So it's not open to everyone. But if you do a bit of research and say the best companies for English teachers online or the best companies for math teachers online, then you should be able to find a few options for you. Now, the second one is the teacher marketplace. And also, just to know, I'm talking about one-to-one lessons here, one-to-one. We'll talk about other ways to teach in a moment. But the second one is a teacher marketplace. And a good example of this is italki. Now, there's no affiliate link to italki, but they have sponsored some of my videos on my other channel, and I know teachers work for them and like this company. And what this means is, or the way it works is that as a teacher, you put your profile up you have a headline, you set your prices, you talk about the lessons you give, you have an image, maybe a welcome video, and then students on that platform come and find you. Now, there are different platforms available. Again, iTalki is one I recommend. If you're an English teacher, if you teach a different subject, then have a look around, see what's available. Now, the third option is to teach for yourself. And this is where, like I said before, you're in charge of everything. You create your own sales funnel. You create your own marketing plan. You decide on what lessons you want to teach. You also set your own prices, for example. Now, there are advantages and disadvantages to this, as there are to teacher marketplaces and also working for a company. And I'm not here really to try and convince you of which one is best, because it just depends on you. But I can try and help you think about which one is best, and also just take a bit of pressure off by saying you can do all three. As long as it's not in the contract that you can't get your own students on your own and have your own tutoring business on the side, then you can do all three. You can apply for companies, you can look at teacher marketplaces, you can create your own website. So don't feel like you have to choose one path and then that's it. You can do all three at the same time. You can choose one, then go pivot into another one. So just bear that in mind when you're thinking about this, because I know a lot of people, when they start it, they might think in absolutes. You know, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. That's it. I can't change my mind. But you can always be flexible with it. For example, I used to teach in a teacher marketplace in 2008. Then I worked for a company, not online, but in Spain. And then I started my own thing. And I built my own thing up while I was working for companies. So just bear that in mind as you go through this, just to take a bit of the pressure off. Now, having said I'm not going to try and convince you about which path to go down, I am going to talk more about independent teaching, because that is what I have experience in, and that's what people come to me for help for. So I'm going to just give you 5 steps to get this set up as quickly as possible, because there's a lot of overwhelm when thinking about how am I going to market my lessons, how am I going to set my prices, what teacher materials I'm going to use. And again, this is for any subject, so just apply it. But I'm going to give the example for English language teaching. Now, here are the 5 steps. First step is to talk to somebody who is local to you and can give you legal advice when it comes to business setup and taxes. Do that as early as possible. Make sure that this is something you can do where you live, because it just depends on the countries, you know, depends where you are. I don't know regulations. I do have my own experience about doing this in the US, and I can share my experience, but at the same time, just speak to someone local to make sure it's okay where you are, so that you have set up the right business venture at the start. And know, from my experience, you can change this, and just to make sure you have the taxes down, so there's no nasty surprise at the end of the year. Okay, so step 1. Step 2, and this is where I can help you more, is the marketing side of things. So step 2 is to create a landing page so that learners can take action. Now, if you're new to this, then you might not know what a landing page is or what it actually means to take action. So let me break it down a little bit. What you can do is you can set up an online calendar for free trial lessons, where students can book a trial lesson with you. And again, we're talking about one-to-one teaching here. I'm going to talk about other ways to teach online after this section. So imagine this. You create an online calendar and you say, okay, this is when I can give trial lessons. A student comes onto this page. They say, okay, I want a trial lesson with this teacher. They choose their time. They then enter their details, and then you get a message saying somebody has booked a trial lesson with you, and then you connect with them online and give that trial lesson. That's a very simple landing page that is very easy to set up. And I recommend using something like Calendly. Everything is Lee these days. And I've actually made a couple of videos on this too. So you have your online calendar set up, people can get that trial lesson with you. Option 2 here is a landing page which gives something away for free. Now, a landing page is just a page that people land on. And you want to set it up so people take action. You don't want people to browse. You want them to take some kind of action. Giving them the option of a free trial lesson is action. That makes people take action. Sending people to a generic homepage with no buttons and just information about you means people aren't going to take action. They're just going to browse and then press back on their browser. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, a landing page is a page where people can take action. They can book a trial lesson, that's a landing page where they go to a calendar, or you can give something away for free. For example, a PDF on 5 tips for beginners for the classical guitar, just to give it another subject. Okay, so what you're doing is you're giving people the opportunity to get this free guide. They then give you their email, and then you can take it from there. This is email marketing. Now, I've got videos on that, so check out all the links in the description. In fact, there's a lot in the description. I definitely recommend going into the description and having a little look around at the different resources I have for you. Okay, so that's step 2. Step 1, talk to somebody. Step 2 is to create a landing page, a free trial lesson. Let's just use that as the example. Step 3 is to send people to that landing page, to the free trial lesson. And there are many ways in which you can do this. I highly recommend, though, starting with your network and just telling people what you're doing and send them to that landing page to get that trial lesson. So for example, if you have a Facebook profile, you can tell your friends on Facebook, hey, I'm teaching classical guitar now online. You can get a free trial lesson with me, or if you have a friend who wants to learn guitar, send this to them. Or if you've taught classical guitar in a class setting and you still have those details and it's not against the privacy policy and you can do this ethically, then you can say, hey, remember when I gave you lessons for guitar? Well, now take it online. Here's how to do it. So that's what I recommend doing first. And then from there, I recommend social media. Create content on an Instagram profile, a Facebook profile, or LinkedIn, whatever it may be. Let's just use Instagram. So let's say you create an Instagram account, which is classical guitar lessons with Jack, for example. Then what you can do is create little mini lessons, like 1-minute videos of, here's a quick tip if you want to learn classical guitar. This is what to do with these fingers, and this is what to do with, I don't know what I'm doing, but you get the idea. You can just give away mini lessons and then tell people to get a trial lesson and tell them how to do that. So at the end of the video, you say, if you enjoyed this, then go to my profile and click the link and learn about how I can teach you personally online. So what you're doing is you're using what I call the content plus CTA method. Content, the video. CTA, call to action. The call to action is go get the trial lesson. So you can think about, I'm sure you've got some ideas right now about how you can execute this. You can do it on Facebook, on Instagram, wherever it may be. LinkedIn works well. TikTok, I'm not sure how to do that exactly, but it just depends on the platform you're comfortable with and also just where you can build an audience. So that is step 3. Step 4 is to kill it in the trial lesson, to convince people that they should continue taking lessons with you, but now to give you money for it. And what I like to do in this trial lesson is to give value and just to try and lead people into it. So you're not pushy. You're not saying like, okay, you have to take a lesson with me. There's a limited time offer. You've got 2 minutes to decide. Do it now. Instead, show your value in that trial lesson and then say, so what do you think? Would you like to continue taking lessons with me? And some people say yes, some people say no, some people say maybe. It just depends. It's a numbers game. And it depends on how you execute in that trial lesson. Now, that might make you feel a little bit like, I'm scared about making this lesson perfect, but you'll get better at it. A lot of this is you're just going to get better at it as you do it. Okay, so that's step 4. Step 5 then is if people want to take a lesson with you, You then can send them an invoice on PayPal, for example, and say, this is for your lesson. Or you can use Calendly and have the payment system implemented and have people sign up for that time using Calendly. Okay, so that's just a basic 5-step plan on how to get this set up. So talk to somebody, create that landing page. I'm going to forget one step, I'm sure. Create that landing page, create content, get people to that landing page, have a trial lesson, and then send the invoice if people want lessons with you. Now, 2 more sections here. The next section is what not to worry about when you're doing this, so you can just focus on doing the right things. And then finally, we're going to talk about how to expand and how to offer different things as an online teacher. So, what not to worry about. Firstly, getting lots of resources and lesson plans before you start the marketing. Get lesson plans as you go. Build them up over time. Don't spend a lot of time thinking, what am I going to teach? What am I going to teach? Without even having a student. Have the trial lesson and base your lesson plans and how you're going to teach them on that student. Because these are one-to-one lessons, and with one-to-one lessons, you can tailor them to match the student's needs. So don't worry about resources. Number 2, don't make everything fancy. You don't need a fancy logo right now. You don't need like a fancy flashy website. You just need that one landing page. You don't even need a logo. Don't worry about making things flash and fancy. In fact, there's been a big trend away from that over the last 6 years where, because of the mobile experience, it's all about simplicity. Make it simple. Just make it really simple. Another thing to not worry about, and I've made a video on this too, 6 things not to worry about, so check that out if you want to continue this section. But the third thing is to not worry about pricing. A lot of people get stuck on what is the perfect price to charge right now. It all depends on the demand for your lessons. What you feel your time is worth isn't really a factor. And I know a lot of people say, charge what you're worth, charge what you're worth. But if the demand isn't there for it and you need income right now, then charging what you think you're worth isn't a smart thing to do. So, to take the pressure off is just know you can be flexible. You can grandfather people into a price if they're one of the first 5 students. You can double the price of your lessons overnight if there's huge demand. You can give discounts if you need students coming in. It's just all about the demand of your lessons and the value that you give, or the value that people perceive you give. So make sure that you get that across. And then they'll notice this in a trial lesson. If you have a good trial lesson and they connect with you, then they're going to want to pay what it is. And a lot of people fall into the trap of thinking, there are so many online teachers out there for English, for example. Some are offering $5 an hour for lessons. I can't compete with that. But most people looking for lessons, they're not looking for the cheapest price, because if they were, everyone would just flock to the $5 lessons. People are looking for value. People are looking for connection with a teacher. And if you can offer value and provide that connection, then people are going to pay what you're worth if you can build up the demand. But don't worry about pricing. Just charge what you think is right now, and then adapt. Adapt to the demand, to whatever is going to happen. Okay? So, 3 things not to worry about. Now, the next section is for me quite an exciting section, because this is talking about how else you can earn as an online teacher. And what we've talked about so far is one-to-one lessons. And there's a limit to what you can earn in terms of one-to-one lessons. Unless you can start charging $1 million an hour, there's a limit, okay? Because you only have so many hours in a day. And as an independent teacher, you're going to be doing other things too. So most teachers tend to teach between 20 and 30 hours a week if they can. But more than that, it can get overwhelming. So here are just some things that you can do. You can create an online course. I've got a free guide on this, on how to create and sell your own online course. Again, the link is in the description. You can just download that and go through it. It's a very good summary of a good overview of what's involved with this. But in a nutshell, what you're doing is you're creating content online, video content, and people are paying to get access to it. And the beauty with this is, once you create that content, you're not limited by the amount of people who can access it. So you're limited by your hours in one-to-one, but 1 million people could sign up to your course, and in theory, there's no extra work for you. I do want to just say at this point that do look into taxes with online courses. It's a little bit confusing. You might have to offer some feedback, but that's why you talk to someone who's local. So offer an online course, it's great. I have an online course for teachers. I have one for English learners. When I started to do that, it completely changed everything for me. So I stopped working one-to-one lessons, and I just moved everything to the online course once I saw that they were working. But there are other things as well. It doesn't have to be an online course, it could be materials. So you could create audio content and have people access that. I also create flashcards, and people buy the flashcards as part of my course. People sell like ebooks. You can create a book on Amazon. There's so many different things you can do here. So that's selling digital products and online courses. You can also offer feedback, which isn't where you're not required to be meeting the person at the same time. I could have said that better. It's asynchronous teaching and learning, where, for example, somebody is taking an exam soon, and there's a writing element to that, and they need a teacher to help them with their writing and to get feedback on it. They can send it to you via Google Drive. You can go in there, leave some comments and notes, rewrite it maybe, and then they see it the next day. So this doesn't require you to be in there real time with the student. Instead, you can just, do it on your own time. And you can do that for speaking as well. So if somebody uploads a presentation that you want to check, you can listen to it and make notes on it and give feedback on that. So that's a different type of method. You can also offer group lessons where 3 or more people are inside Zoom with you and you're teaching them at all the same time. You can also do things like become a YouTube teacher, where mainly you're earning through YouTube. And a lot of teachers do this now. Their main income is through YouTube ads and also sponsored posts. Now, personally, and I'm not going to give you the numbers away, but I get some income from YouTube. I have about 276,000 subscribers last time I checked for To Fluency. I get some through sponsored posts. A lot comes through online courses and also through affiliate income too. So I've covered quite a lot of ground here. What I recommend you do is to go into the description, and I've said this a few times, but I have so many different guides for you and video courses that are free, some are paid, but mainly just like the free stuff that you can have a look at to delve deeper. I'll also leave a link of recommended videos I think you should watch after this. So for example, if you want to learn about online courses, there's a video for that. If you want to learn about how to plan your lessons, there's a video for that. How to use Zoom and Calendly, there's a video for that. So I'll just leave a long list of videos and so you can have a look around. But the 3 guides to look at are email marketing, it's a free guide, online course creation, and then also how to become an online teacher, market yourself. That's a free video course. Now, if you found this useful, then please like and share it, and then leave any comments you have below. And make sure, if you're watching this, check out the comments too, because you can see what people are asking and then see my response to it. And you might be able to learn some more from that. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover. So thank you for being here with me, and I'll speak to you soon. Okay, bye-bye.